How does a team go from within a whisker of winning an unprecedented quadruple to suddenly sitting 21 points off the top of the league? It makes no sense. Liverpool Football Club are an enigma, but I weirdly have faith. I think that they're going to make the top four. I don't know why. Call me wild, but I believe that they will do it. To help me explore it is my dear friend Ade Oladipo, who is also a Rizla paper away from hitting 40,000 subscribers. Help him get to the promised land. Please click subscribe. His link is in the description below. Ade is a Liverpool fan, and he's going to help me get through this. Is my faith in Jurgen Klopp, is my belief in Jurgen Klopp misplaced? Do you think that top four is on the horizon for you?
I don't think your belief in Jurgen Klopp is misplaced. I think he's still one of the best managers in the world. I know like right now it's a tough time for Liverpool fans, and we've almost become the laughingstock of the Premier League, but I don't think it's misplaced in Jurgen Klopp. I think it's misplaced in the current Liverpool squad that we've got. I don't think it's capable of putting, and I think you need to put a run together to make top four. I don't think United are going to drop many points. They've looked really good under Erik ten Hag. Newcastle don't want to concede a goal. They're looking really good as well. And then Arsenal, Man City are banked. They're banked. They're making top four. Right? So you're looking at two places. And then Liverpool have got to jump the queue on a few as well. Brighton will probably fall off, but you've still got to jump Brighton. You've still got to jump Fulham.
I disagree here. You're not chasing.
No, we're not chasing.
You're not chasing Brentford and Brighton and Fulham. You're chasing.
Right. We're chasing United
Newcastle.
and Newcastle. Yeah. We just don't have a good enough squad to do it. My only hope, and it's funny because I'm trying to convince you as a Chelsea fan. My only hope is that Luis Diaz and Diego Jota come back sooner rather than later, and so does Virgil van Dijk. And then you never know. There's a run there, but it goes back to the Achilles heel, and the Achilles heel is the midfield. And there are no players that are injured that are jumping back into that midfield. And that midfield will always let us down in terms of that run to top four. Will always let us down. So I've not given up on the season. I still think there's an FA Cup there, and you never know in the Champions League, Liverpool and that relationship with that trophy. But top four, no, not at all.
So what's the major issue here? Because the way that I always think about Klopp and Liverpool is that Liverpool effectively dictate what happens in a game in terms of the way that it will be played. Yeah. So the shape of the game, the pace of the game, the tempo of the game, it will all be set by Liverpool. You will dance to our tune would be Jurgen Klopp's approach. That isn't happening. I think teams are able to go to Anfield. In fact, weirdly, Chelsea did it recently and sort of set the pace, set the tempo. How is that happening, and can it be stopped?
I looked at I saw a startling stat the other day, and look, this is not me trying to make excuses because there are a number of things I'm guessing we're going to discuss that are sort of part of the problem. But Liverpool have played 92 games since the start of last season. You compare it to Arsenal, who played 71. The average age in the Arsenal score is 23, 24. Liverpool's is 28. So Liverpool got 21 more games in their legs, and they're older. I think we've just played too much football. I think they played too much football, and the drop-off to those players has been incredible. I think we kind of expected it with Henderson. He's almost been phased out a little bit. He's not a guaranteed starter when everyone's fit, I don't think. Milner, we expected it. I think Liverpool and the backroom staff never expected it with Fabinho. I think they thought Fabinho could go 1-2 more seasons, and then you could have a Thiago next to him, and then you could somehow bring in your Curtis Jones and your Harvey Elliott. I think Fabinho's drop-off at 29 has been incredible. I mean, it's been incredible. Look, me and you were doing a show today, and we were talking about the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League. We didn't have him in the top 5. There was a time last season where I was arguing that he was number 1, and now he's not a top 5. That's the drop-off right there, and that's caused us a massive problem.
And do you know what the problem is with that? As soon as Liverpool don't have Fabinho in there, like, do you know who... I'm sure he's a very good player, and I know that he's very gifted on the ball, but you know the role that Harvey Elliott is currently playing for Liverpool, sort of that right-sided number 8. He just doesn't have the physicality. Like, he doesn't win anything in the air. Aerial duels are non-existent for him. I saw a terrible stat. Wins something like 0.1 of his, like 0.1 of every 90 that he goes up for, he wins. Like, he doesn't have a physical presence. That's not his fault, but the lack of presence in the midfield. And do you know where I'm going to come back to? I know that this is old ground.
Mane.
No, Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
You know, just an unflashy...
It's the big one. It's the big one. Honestly, it's the one that, to this day, I tweet about it probably every other week.
Yeah.
Because it just annoys me still that we let him go. And that's fine. Look, he wants to go, or we let him go, I'm not quite sure. but you've got to replace it. You've got to, and
Could
they
Curtis
didn't.
Jones play the winner?
No, not good enough.
Wow.
Not good
That
enough.
was easy.
It's not good enough.
He came on against Chelsea last
It's
day,
not good
didn't he?
enough. Like, I've seen Curtis Jones now for the last 3 seasons, and look, I'm going to get some stick from Liverpool fans in the comment section, but I've watched him. And I love the idea of young players coming through, and you've got to give them a chance, and we want to see that, don't you? Your local lads playing for the club. But ultimately, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And Curtis Jones isn't good enough to be that guy for Liverpool. I think Harvey could, but the problem Harvey has is he's not a midfielder or the right side of a midfielder. And in terms of his position where he wants to play, which is the right side of the front three, Salah's there. So you're not going to get that. And he doesn't score enough. That right side for us is a massive problem because you've got Trent, who defensively we know, and then you've got Harvey Elliott, who, as you just mentioned, physicality is a bit of a problem. And then you've got Salah, who now, unfortunately, doesn't do the donkey work back. So the left side's fine. If the left side is, everything's fit, the left side is wonderful, in fact. It's Luis Diaz, which is not a problem for me. You've got Van Dijk and you've got Robertson. That still is a great left, you'll take that. The other side is a big issue. It's a big issue for us.
And can he get it right? Like, is Cody Gakpo the answer? Do you think Cody Gakpo can be the, just that fire, that spark to take you into the European Cup contention? No.
No, he can't.
This is very...
No, you know what it is. Look.
Why? I feel like you've written it off almost.
What?
Top 4.
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
I watch us play. Oh, when I watch us play, this is a Liverpool team for the last 5 years has been glorious watching. Glorious, where you just think something's going to happen. Someone's going to do something. I've been watching us since the start of the season. Liverpool have probably had, I don't know how many games we've had now when you count all the cup games and the Champions League and the league, but I'd say we probably had about 30 games. Liverpool have played good, or well in 4 or 5 of those. So I watched it. I watch a game. I don't watch the result. I'm looking at how we're playing. And even in our wins, Villa, I remember, half an hour good, and then the rest were kind of hanging on a bit. I remember Ollie Watkins missed a couple, and I'm thinking, geez. So we're off everywhere. Everyone has dropped off 15, 20%. Van Dijk, before he got injured, has dropped off. Konate dropped off. Alisson, if it wasn't for Alisson, would be in the bottom half. Everyone has dropped off. No one is playing out of their skin right now. Nobody. It's almost like a disease that is spread for the whole starting 11. So who do you think's playing that well for Liverpool right now?
Nobody is standing out. I agree with that. But it's still Liverpool and it's still class footballers. Like, look, Mohamed Salah's not playing very well at the moment.
Yeah.
What is it now? Liverpool scored 1 goal in 3 games or something ridiculous like that. But maybe I'm just conditioned and maybe I'm wrong here. But I just think every single time Liverpool line up, this is a day it will click in. Mohamed Salah scores a hat-trick today.
The only way it clicks, look, again, we can't change the midfield unless between now and the end of January we get a loan in. We're not buying. They've said there's no more money. So the only way it clicks is if we outscore the opposition. Almost a bit old school Newcastle under Kevin Keegan. When our front line is there, Diaz, Jota, Firmino, Darwin Núñez, Salah, there's goals there. If we can outscore teams, we've got a chance. If we're trying to do what we did against you boys, which was scared to go forward because we no longer have a defence, then there is a problem.
You expect from Salah at least a goal every other game.
Used to.
You know what he's on? A goal, like 0.2 goals per game.
Wow, so...
We definitely expect him to be on 0.5.
1 in 4 or 5.
Yeah. You'd expect him to be on 0.5, 0.6, wouldn't you?
I feel sorry for him, though. He's you look at that front three and he's almost the last frontier, isn't it? I mean, Firmino's always injured, so he's lost him. Mane's gone. Like, he used to work within that. The runs, everyone understood each other. Firmino would drop into the hole and not be selfish. Mane would make runs. So it was almost like it wasn't just Salah. I know Salah was getting all the goals, but it was a collective effort. Right now, some weeks he's playing with Harvey Elliott, some weeks it's Gakpo, some weeks it's Darwin Núñez, who still doesn't understand the runs he's supposed to make. Salah can't do magic tricks by himself. He's not Messi.
No.
He's good, but he ain't that good.
No, but I always think, though, when goal scorers operate at that rate, there's going to be fluctuations. It's impossible
to keep it up.
Yeah. The only people it's not impossible for are the two that
we just
that
the Ronaldo's and Messi's,
human.
which don't make sense. Yeah.
But everybody else, I mean, even the very best, and whoever you think that is, even whether you think it's Alan Shearer, whether you think it's Gianfranco Zola, it doesn't matter who you think it is. Yeah. Fluctuations.
Everyone has a drop off.
Yeah. Everybody has off days. Some people, Diego Costa, Didier Drogba for various moments, off significant portions of a season, if not a whole season in Costa's case. I think that it just comes back for Salah. And maybe I think when it's your team, you have a vested interest. And because you want it so badly, you're so desperate for it to happen, you have a natural inclination to go, it's over, we're not going, because you're so upset, and maybe that's a way of protecting yourself. But I don't particularly want it to happen. I think it's inevitable. Salah fires again. Klopp gets it right. The midfield will work itself out. The keeper will elevate his performances. The back line will sort it out. Trent Alexander-Arnold will again become the most creative, dangerous footballer on whatever pitch he has stood upon.
You know what, Rory? And look, I'd love to say that you're correct, but this is the problem. You mentioned 4 or 5 problems there. I think even when Liverpool sometimes weren't firing, it was just one. People would say, it's all great, but if they could just sort out Trent, or Alisson needs to stop playing around and just get. It was one, and we had to sort out one. It was someone's putting out one fire. You're talking 5 or 6 fires right now, and I don't care how many fire brigades you called, you can't put all that out. There's too many problems.
So what's the answer? Like,
if
it's as bad as you're saying,
you know what they do in the NBA? They tank the season. Season, and you almost move on to the next one because you've already got the plans in your head of what next season will look like. Liverpool somehow need to salvage this season respectfully.
Real Madrid in the cup. Is there a European Cup?
Jesus Christ, I'm frightened of that one.
Liverpool in a European Cup context. Don't be scared of anyone.
No.
Genuinely,
I'm not, but I am.
Understood.
I am. No, it's not going to work.
In the context of a European Cup, I would suggest
anything
Liverpool.
Could happen.
Yeah. For Liverpool, not for anyone.
Yeah.
Like if this were virtually any other club, I'd say it's impossible. But not Liverpool. Yeah. In certain clubs in certain competitions, Arsenal in the FA Cup were a bit like that recently.
You know the worst thing about Klopp is, and look, some Liverpool fans would never dig out Klopp. He's made a lot of mistakes. And these are ones that he almost has to admit and own up to. Ox still at the club, mistake. Keita still at the club, mistake. Curtis Jones, not good enough, mistake. Gomez at times not good enough. He's been branded with this kind of, he's too loyal to players, and he is. I love Firmino, I love him. He can't get on the pitch. He's injured every single week. I can't remember the last time he played a game for us. I can't remember. What's he still doing there then? Oh, because he was your lieutenant 5 years ago. Yeah, but he's not. That was 5 years ago.
Certain players can elevate though individually. Like if Thiago Alcantara becomes the player that we saw at Bayern Munich.
He is the one player, you know what I mentioned everyone, he's the one player that I feel sorry for because we bought him for the way he performed for Spain and for Bayern Munich. Yeah. It wasn't running back as a number 8. He's probably thinking, what am I doing running back? He was a luxury player that operated well because he had 2 soldiers, Henderson and Fabinho, next to him. All of a sudden, we're asking him to do Fabinho's job.
He becomes a soldier.
Yeah, he's like, one second, I didn't sign up for this. So I actually think he's actually playing half decent.
Where did they finish this season then, Liverpool?
6.
Really?
Yeah, 6, and that would make me feel sick because I'm not happy in Europa League. I'd rather us finish 8th than 6th.
I still think that you're capable of catching Manchester United and Newcastle. Like one, and you only have to catch one of the 2.
Nah.
There we go. We completely disagree on that, but I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like. Please click subscribe. And remember, make sure you subscribe to Ade Oladipo's channel. The link is in the description below. Let us know your thoughts on these rays and tell me in the comments, where will Liverpool finish this season? See you in a bit.